Hi, everyone. I presume you can hear me, although I cannot see any of the people from media that are on because you're not using your screens. So I shall just dive in. We just have a couple of small updates today, and then I'm going to hand it over to Latha and then Mike Pinto to talk about the city's food distribution efforts. We have, as of now, our most recent update is 4,177 cases. Since the beginning of the pandemic, with 119 fatalities. Director Bond had a couple of slides to share from the questions that came up yesterday about the recent last 2 weeks and the numbers for those cases. So Director Bond, do you mind sharing those?
Sure. Share. So good afternoon, everyone. Yesterday, the question was raised regarding a comparison from the current 2-week period, which is at the 351, and 2 weeks prior, we were at 145. And so as you can see, we are seeing a significant increase in cases, and we are well within the red alert, as the mayor noted in our earlier press conference. So we are seeing significant increase within the periods comparison to the prior 2 weeks. And so the first 2 weeks that we are reporting here is October 24th through the 31st, and then we have November 7th through the 14th. Let me just stop sharing here so I can be able to talk.
Thanks. And just to be clear, so do you mind sharing that again? Because this is something that confused me at first. So the bar graph on the right side of the bar graph, it looks like we don't have as many cases in the last couple of days, but that's mostly because the data is not fully reflected in the testing results are not fully reflected in the data, correct?
Correct. Let me go back in as well. And pull in 17th to the 31st. Sorry, hold on. I want to be able to show the correct screen. Hold on. So my apologies. Here, let me show the accurate. So here, so for the week period of October 17th to the 24th, I apologize for that, we were at 330 cases, whereas the current 2-week period, which is November 7th through the 14th, we are at 351. And so, of course, I just, to the disclaimer we need to make is that it is provisional because the cases get uploaded about twice a week. And so and they fluctuate based on quality assurance of ensuring that they are indeed residents of New Haven. And so when we do the comparison, we see that they are with about the difference of about 330 to versus 351 within the time period that we reported. And with that, let me stop sharing so I can allow the interpreter to be able to interpret. Sorry about that.
Thanks, Director Bond. The only thing I wanted to add before handing over to Latha is that our COVID inspection team is, as the press knows, been very proactive for many months now, going out and making sure establishments are abiding by the COVID-19 regulations. We plan on beginning to implement some of the fines that are permissible through the governor's executive order. And in particular, after giving warnings to businesses, we'll be issuing a $100 fine for a business or entity, not an employee, but to a business or entity for an employee's failure to wear a required mask or cloth face covering while at work. And also a $500 fine for any person or business entity who organizes, hosts, or sponsors a gathering that violates the gathering size restrictions. So we just want to make it very clear, because we've seen a number of businesses be laxed about the either the number of people gathering within that business that are beyond the levels allowed right now, or employees that are not wearing masks, that we want businesses to take this very seriously. We will warn them once, and then we will fine them. With that, let me hand it over to Latha to give an update on food distribution.
Great. Thank you, Mayor. So as many of you know, since the beginning of the pandemic, the city of New Haven has been focused on making sure our most vulnerable residents continue to have reliable access to food. So we've been working diligently. We've continued to work diligently to organize, collaborate, communicate with various food resource providers, and also to maintain food provisions that are synchronized, informed, and efficient. So I wanted to give you a summary of what resources are available throughout the city at this time. First, I'll start with the work that New Haven Public Schools is doing around providing meals to youth. So there are two options for school meals. The first option is daily weekday meals for pickup. So NHPS is offering breakfast and hot lunches to all students in New Haven at 38 school sites. So pickups are Monday through Friday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. And you can find a list of the school sites on the website link that I think Gage just shared with you. Yep. So you'll see everything that I'm talking about is on that website. So just a heads up, there is a modified schedule for the holidays. Between December 28th and December 31st, those 38 sites are going to reduce to 11 sites because of the holidays. We just got confirmation on the 11 sites, so I'll have those 11 sites posted on the website very shortly once we get that flyer finished. In addition, during those days, during Christmas break, so that would be December 21st to 23rd, as well as December 28th to 31st. When families go to pick up meals, they'll be able to get double meals. So no one should worry about not being able to have meals throughout the like actual Christmas and Christmas Eve. You'll be able to pick up extra meals. So the second option for families is if you're not able to come to pick up meals between 11 and 1 p.m., you can actually order ahead to pick up meals once a week. And this option is available at 3 locations. I'll just list them now. It's High School in the Community, King Robinson, and Hill Regional Career High School. And again, this will be on the website. So these meals are actually a kit for parents or guardians to create lunches and breakfasts. So there will be some frozen items, some items that need refrigeration, and fresh or shelf-stable items. And you'll receive cooking instructions with the kits. So the way to order is you'll need to call this number, 475-220-1612, on either Monday or Tuesday from 9 to 3, or Wednesday from 9 to noon. And these meals can be picked up at those 3 locations between 4 and 5:30. And specifically on the following days, on November 20th, December 4th, December 11th, and December 18th. So that's kind of the summary of school meals for youth. And you can find all this information on the website. It'll be updated. Also on that website, we've linked directly to the school's food service department. So you can also navigate there and everything will be updated accordingly. For seniors, those who are New Haven residents can receive food pantry and meal deliveries through the City of New Haven Elderly Services Department in collaboration with community partners. So residents must be at least 55 years or older for groceries, or 60 years and older for meals. To inquire about that service, you can call 203-946-8550. And for low-income families and individuals, there's several options. Of course, as always, all the food pantries and soup kitchens across New Haven are working really hard through this public health emergency. They're operating in a safe manner. They're following all COVID precautions around social distancing and proper protective measures. And as of just maybe 2 weeks ago, we updated the New Haven Food Resource Guide in both English and Spanish. And that provides a comprehensive list of food pantries and soup kitchens. That, again, is on the website. But you can also find that list, that guide, on the Get Connected website. We also have an option for food pantry delivery, as some of you may remember from earlier during this emergency. CFAN put together a program called Pantry to Pantry, and CFAN is a coordinated food assistance network. So now that program is run by Fish of Greater New Haven, and they deliver pantry items directly to the homes of those in need and who cannot or should not be leaving their home at this time. So to get more information about that program, you can call 203-503-0106. That's Fish's number. There's also some updated information on SNAP benefits. So just as of today, Connecticut Department of Social Services has instituted new special measures to assist SNAP enrollees. Of note they are suspending certain reporting requirements for all SNAP enrollees through June 2021. So that means that there will be less kind of reporting requirements as a SNAP beneficiary. They're also automatically extending eligibilities. So if your eligibility was set to expire in the next few months, you'll get an additional 6 months automatically as an extension. Also on November 19th, some of you may see an additional distribution of money on your SNAP EBT cards. That's because the state is now allocating $16 million in emergency SNAP benefits. So if your household has not already received the maximum amount of benefits, you'll be getting the maximum amount of benefits dependent on your household size. And lastly, with SNAP, they're instituting an elderly simplified application project, which basically institutes some flexibilities and supports around continued enrollment. So that includes a lower regulatory burden of providing updates, easier ways to sign up for SNAP. So all of that information, again, is linked on the website. And then lastly, we do continue to have pop-up food distributions throughout New Haven. They're hosted by a variety of organizations in collaboration with the city, many of them. Of course, some are also independently run. So for those, since there's so many and they happen at different times, I would just encourage everyone to keep an eye on the city's social media accounts for information on that, as well as any listservs that you may be a part of that distribute information around social services. The very last thing that I'll mention is that there are a lot of pop-up distributions that are coming up for Thanksgiving next week. So keep an eye on the social media accounts and you'll see some flyers that include a whole list of those turkey giveaways and other holiday-related distributions. So that pretty much gives a summary of a lot of the resources that are available right now. I don't know if, Michael, you want to include anything from NHPS side?
Sure. Let me just give, we hadn't done it in a while. Let me give a couple of updated numbers. September's numbers, breakfast and lunch, we gave 67,408 meals. October was much better, 131,805. And so far in November, we're at 63,567. We did 4,049 meals yesterday, the most recent number for which meals are available, or numbers are available. And we've done a total of 262,780 since September 3rd when school began. We continue to work with the food policy department and the state of Connecticut to try to come up with the most creative ways we can. We recognize that food insecurity is a particular issue, and we are trying to do everything we can to encourage people both to come pick up meals and more creative ways to get meals out to people. But that's what we've got so far. Anything we can, and if anyone has any ideas, then they, send me an email. I'm happy to, happy to go over some new ideas to try to increase those numbers. We want to make sure that we want to boost the numbers as much as we possibly can. So
thanks, Mike, and thanks Lathaf for such a comprehensive summary and all the work that you're doing. I noticed that Dr. Tracy and Dr. Vasquez also are on the call. Do either one of you have any updates that you'd like to share?
I have one quick update in addition to our testing update yesterday. Fairhaven Community Health Center will be hosting testing this Sunday at Columbus School on Blatchley Avenue from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. and that will be open to the public. No appointment needed.
Great, thanks. Dr. Tracy, do you have any updates or anything? You're on mute, Dr. Tracy. Dr. Tracy, you're on mute. There you are.
Thank you, Mayor, and hello, everyone. Just so at this juncture, as everyone knows, we have allowed a certain sector of the special ed population back in school. We're looking and monitoring the uptick of the virus in the schools right now. And we want to make sure that the safety of all our students and staff is paramount at this time. I will be having more conversation with Director Bond about what we need to do going forward to make sure that our staff and students are safe.
Thank you, Dr. Tracy. Okay, so are there any questions from the press? Go ahead, Mary. You're on mute.
Okay, thank you. So you haven't found anybody yet on who's violated COVID rules, but now the warning's out there, one warning, and then they will be fined.
Director Bond, we haven't found anyone yet, correct?
Not at this time.
How many warnings have you given out? I mean, we've seen some of the people that you have warned or shut down. And I guess the second question is how many restaurants or businesses, mostly restaurants, I guess, have been shut down in the past few months?
So in regards to the first question that is in warning systems about masks, we were doing an assessment of the infraction process and wanted to take on what was most feasible for our department to be able to respond to. And to your second question in regards to how many warnings, we have a tiered response method, which is about 3 warnings, and then we will issue and act upon as needed. We have to date, since the reopening of businesses, closed 13 establishments. 10 have since reopened. 3 remain closed. Of the 3 that remain closed, 2 do not fall within the respective sector that they're supposed to be open because they're part of phase 3. And 1 is currently working on a corrective action plan.
Okay, can you just give us those names?
Yeah, I don't have the names list in front of me, but I
Right.
can certainly share that.
Thank you.
Other questions? Go ahead, Tom.
Thank you. Passing along a few questions from my colleague, Emily Hayes. It's probably for the schools team. Have you cleared first student to start busing again tomorrow?
We have not. We will be meeting. We actually just had a conversation with them shortly before this. We are awaiting some information some additional information on their corrective action plan, and we will be reconvening with them at 2:15.
Thank you for that. And is NHPS in-person special education going to shut down after Friday?
That is something we're discussing at the moment for the safety of students and staff because of the uptick that we're seeing in positive cases.
Thank you. And for Director Bond or the mayor, is Anthony's Ocean View going to be fined for the party that you all busted them for a couple weeks ago?
Because we are instituting the infraction starting this week, they were already closed prior to that, so they will not be imposed the infraction at this juncture.
And then one question for the food policy director. What will be included in the food kits that people can order to be picked up? You mentioned some frozen items and some shelf-ready items, but can you give some examples of what might be in those kits?
Yeah, actually, that might be a better question for Mr. Pinto, if you have any idea. I'm not sure exactly all the contents because that's a food service department at NHPS question.
Yeah,
On the spot.
Tom, I'm going to have to get back to you on that. I'll get a couple of. You and I can have a quick conversation with Gail, and she can sort of run through what's actually included in this. If that works for you.
Yeah, sounds good. And then actually, if I may, one more question about the fines for businesses and people who host large social gatherings. Who in city government will be responsible for issuing and enforcing or collecting these fines?
The fines, particularly to business that are within my respective purview, will be handled internally within the health department. There's a tracking form that the state requires that we fill out and submit. And so the revenue will be going directly to the governor's office, as that is a executive order infraction process.
So the revenue goes to the state, not the governor's office, just to.
Sorry, the state. It doesn't go into the governor's pocket.
But, so each municipality appoints a point person for COVID inspections. That's Jim Tercio, and he and Director Bond are part of our COVID inspections team, and so they'll be the ones determining whether or not to give warnings and to implement the fines. But it's ultimately a state facilitated process.
Hi there.
Oh, let's go to Michael first and then back to Mary.
Hi there. Thank you guys. Appreciate it. So just a quick question. And just wanted to know, I guess, from a testing standpoint, I guess, are you seeing increases in the amount of people who are getting tested? And if so, are you guys going to add testing to the area?
Yeah, I'm going to defer to Dr. Vasquez, who's my testing logistics lead. We are definitely seeing an increase. So Jennifer, can you highlight on that?
Absolutely. Thank you for that question. We are working very hard on expanding testing in the city. We're working with Semaphore to add 2 sites to this weekend's testing schedule. Fairhaven will be standing up their test site on Sunday. And Cornell Scott Hill will have additional evening hours this week, tonight and Thursday evening until 7 p.m. And then Yale New Haven has their 2 fixed sites on Chapel Street and Orchard Street, as well as Monday and Friday, Monday at the Boys and Girls Club, Friday at Betsy Ross. And those are both 9 to 4.
Thank you. And then also as well, just to circle back around to the fines that will be put out, can we just once again just go over, I know that there's a tier system, but how does a business or a group or an individual receive a fine? What does that criteria look like again to get a fine from the city?
You're on mute, Director Bond, if you're talking.
Thank you. The criteria for doing infractions within the city of New Haven for sectors that I license will be as follows. If we're conducting inspections, whether routine or within our COVID task force, and we witness that there are individual staff members working and not wearing and adhering to the mask rules, they will be immediately issued a warning letter. If we conduct and do a follow-up and see that they have still not complied, we will then issue an infraction notice, similar to how we issue notice of closures. And they will then be instructed to pay the fine. And that in business will then be listed on a tracking form so that the state is aware that an infraction notice has been issued to that establishment.
Gotcha. And these checkups, are these checkups going to be random or are they going to be scheduled?
They are typically random.
The COVID team generally does a mixture of random inspections of different establishments and responses to complaints that people may give to the city.
And it could be routine, to your question, Michael. So if we are just doing a routine inspection and witness that during routine, we certainly will do that also.
Thank you. And all of this goes into effect today, is that correct, in terms of the fines?
This week, correct.
This week. All right, thank you.
Any other questions?
Hi, I have a question. This is Alex Putterman from the Hartford Current. Hi, everybody. First of all, I have a question for Director Bond. I'm just wondering, we hear so many different things from people around the state about where they're seeing COVID-19 cases, whether it's workplaces or small gatherings or whatever it may be. I'm just curious in your department where you are seeing the cases coming.
You know, that's a really good question, Alex, in regards to our contact tracing efforts and when we're doing investigation regarding clusters and outbreaks in our city. We are certainly seeing that the cases are significantly due to small gatherings. We have seen that individuals are gathering with members that are not members of their household. We also saw the governor institute a report where the contact tracing efforts have indicated that a lot of cases are also linked to restaurants, indoor, the high risk of indoor facilities, and it happened to be restaurants. And we often see as well individuals that still decide to travel, and despite going through the travel rules of testing, they do not develop symptoms until much later and may have exposed another individual or entity of an establishment.
So when you talk about small gatherings, is that usually people who are breaking the rules in some way, or is it also people who are maybe following the rules but are?
Yeah, so like I'll give you an example of a particular outbreak that we're investigating. An individual had a small gathering that was private in their home, and an individual tested positive from that particular situation. So they had a small gathering of external visitors, which then resulted in a full-blown outbreak because it extended into a workplace. That's why during our press conference yesterday, I was imploring our community to really reconsider the upcoming holidays and really restrict holiday gatherings to immediate household members only, so that we can ensure the safety of themselves and others.
And so you also mentioned restaurants. We're starting to get to the point across the country where some governors or mayors are closing down indoor dining entirely or restricting it really dramatically. I know that is a statewide issue here, but I'm just wondering for you, Director Bond, or for the mayor, whether you think we're getting to the point where you would like to see indoor dining cut off.
Yeah, I've been pretty clear that I think we need to go back to some sort of phase one, which includes restricting or not having indoor dining. We need to eliminate as many possibilities for people to interact without masks, and while it's in the short term very, very difficult for our businesses, in the long term, it's going to be better for our businesses because we'll be able to get the cases under control quickly. Just one other comment about your earlier question. It depends on what you mean by the rules. If people are having a gathering with 5 friends, that's not technically breaking the rules that are set out by the governor, but it is violating the guidance that has been given out since very early on in the pandemic of not interacting with people without masks, social distancing. And I think that's where a lot of the problems we're seeing is coming from, is people gathering together with a small group of friends or extended family without masks and not social distancing, and then that's where the spread is coming from.
And so, Mayor, have you communicated with the governor that you would like to see a further rollback than what we've had so far? I passed along my strong recommendation to the governor's team that we would like to move back to phase 1 or some permutation of that. And what do you hear from them about why they haven't taken that step? Well, my understanding is that they're considering different options. The governor yesterday on the news said that they're not looking to lock things up again. And there's a lot of considerations that the governor has, including what other partnering states are doing. And I think this needs to be a regional approach, and I understand that it's a complicated decision, but I think that we need to, my opinion, and I think our team's guidance that they've given to me is that we need to get on top of this again now, like we did the first time around, or else it's going to get much worse. Thank you. Yep. I apologize, Mary. I forgot that you had your hand up.
Oh, that's right. No, I just had, basically it's kind of a follow-up question to Alex. Have you gotten feedback from businesses? You might have made your views known to them already, that you would like to see a much stricter enforcement and no indoor dining. Some people, are they getting back to you and expressing dismay or agreement?
All of the above. It's an impossible situation for our businesses, right? It's an impossible situation. And, I go around downtown and get takeout almost every day. And so just as a practice, I talk with different businesses about how things are going. And universally, people have been saying that the number of customers has significantly dropped in the last 2 to 3 weeks because of the number of cases that have increased without any changes in the actual restrictions. It's just people are more afraid, which frankly, I think is a healthy thing for people keeping each other safe. I feel for someone that's running a small business in New Haven, and those are often the ones that I hear from, that they don't know what to do. And I think that, the city of New Haven has a narrow scope of control over our ability to support businesses. We're doing what we can to promote businesses doing delivery and takeout, and as best we can support them. But ultimately, the federal government economic support to businesses, like we're seeing, what they should be doing is paying businesses basically to close, and like we're seeing in Europe, so that businesses aren't forced to go out of business or to violate guidance so that they're trying to survive. And we all can opt into doing the right thing.
Okay.
I see Tom has a hand up.
Yes, thank you. Director Bond, when will the finding protocol start? You said this week. Does that mean today
Correct.
or Friday?
I'm having one final review, and we will be launching it before the end of the week. So
Thank you.
definitely before the task force goes back out this weekend.
So does the task force operate Friday, Saturday? I mean, is that a regular?
Our
The
schedules
task force
vary.
operates at random times so that the businesses do not know when the
No, I'm
task
not
force
gonna-
operates.
I'm not gonna.
The mayor has
publish the
answered.
schedule. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, any other questions?
Yeah, also quick question, Mr. Mayor. This is Michael Fuller. I know you had mentioned trying to get that roll back. Is there a timeline that you would like to see that happen within?
What, rolled back meaning phase one?
Yes.
Sooner the better. I mean, the sooner we do this, the less likely it is that the cases will explode, which they're already doing.
Thank you.
Yep. Tom, you have a latent hand, or is that a new hand? Okay. All right.